CDF info and tell them how this fund has impacted you. If you don't see your MP CDF reports, then put them under little pressure, man. Call, tweet, email. Ask them when they'll submit it and when is the next CDF meeting. Change is possible. It's already happening. What we need is you. A message from the Jamaica Accountability Meter Portal, funded by the European Union and the Inter-American Development Bank in partnership with the Private Sector Organization of Jamaica.
The following is brought to you by the Office of the Prime Minister.
To fight crime and violence in your country, your government has invested over $9.7 billion into national security systems. This includes the construction and renovation of dozens of police stations, the acquisition of critical security equipment such as patrol vessels and police vehicles, the recruitment and training of more police officers, and the build-out of the Jamaica Defence Force. Your government is investing in your safety. We are building Jamaica.
The proceeding was brought to you by the Office of the Prime Minister.
Zoom in on the nutrition facts. It there in the table on the side or the back. If you check out the servings, just do the maths. Not taking too much, finger below the facts. Zoom in on the nutrition facts. It there in the table on the side or the back. Take note of the sodium, the sugars and the fats. 5% and less in the on the right track. You for zoom in on the nutrition facts. It there in the table on the side or the back. Vitamins, minerals and vitamin 20% and more that good for you. You for zoom in. Check the nutrition facts. You for zoom in. Check the nutrition facts. You for zoom in. Check the nutrition facts. Less sugar, less salt intake and less fat. You for zoom in.
A message from the Ministry of Health and Wellness, Jamaica Moves, the Heart Foundation of Jamaica, the National Health Fund, and Japan.
What do you girl? I feel stressed out. 2 months from I have baby and a peer problem with breastfeeding. The baby not get enough milk like when I'm in the hospital.
So why you never tell me?
I didn't even know. I not rest. A peer problem with breastfeeding. People keep on telling me something to give the baby bush tea and say it good for him. Then my friend them tell me say if I breastfeed, my breast are gonna drop.
No go so. A 5 hour me breastfeed. I don't know my breast them. No make nobody stress you out. Because if you stress, you're not going to produce enough milk. I better ask your nurse or your doctor.
Me hear the matter about breastfeeding support program at clinic. Then teach the young mothers how to breastfeed properly. And take care of the picnic. Then teach our family to, you know.
I'm going to eat Friday when I go clinic.
And make sure you ask about the breastfeeding support group and join.
Thank you, Mommy. I don't know what me to do without you.
Breastfeeding is an act of love that bonds mothers and babies and provides mothers protection by lowering their risk of developing cervical and breast cancer. Breast is best. This is a message from the Ministry of Health and Wellness.
A new story is being written for all Jamaicans. The Ministry of Economic Growth and Job Creation is on a mission to transform lives. From increasing access to potable water, providing secure homes for the most vulnerable, and helping you own a piece of the rock. We're revitalizing communities and preserving our environment. We're making an impact. See the difference. Feel the difference. Building a better Jamaica for you and me.
You can feel it. Make JC.
The following is brought to you by the Office of the Prime Minister.
Your government is empowering you through education, training, and development. That is why we have removed all fees for every Jamaican accessing training through the Heart NSTA Trust. So, whatever you desire training in, food and hospitality, beauty and cosmetology, housekeeping and hotel management, welding, carpentry, masonry, or any of the dozens of programs Heart offers, you can enroll completely free and change your life. We are building Jamaica.
The proceeding was brought to you by the Office of the Prime Minister. Most Jamaicans will tell you corruption in politics is deep-rooted, and I just saw it set, and nothing can do about that. But actually, there is, and another 152 countries are doing it. It's called asset declaration, and it works best where citizens themselves understand it and help to ensure the law is enforced. Corruption happens when public officials abuse their power to benefit themselves, family, or associates. Jamaica's Integrity Commission Act was designed to prevent corruption. And here are 5 things you should know. 1. Under this law, every year MPs and senators must report what they earn, own, and owe, and if they don't, they'll be sanctioned. 2. Their report must include the same kind of information for their wife or husband and children. 3. If they get a gift worth more than $100,000 from anyone who's not family, they must declare it. 4. A summary of the declarations of our Prime Minister and opposition leader must be published where the public can read it. 5. Parliamentarians can now be prosecuted by the Integrity Commission. They can be fined up to $2 million or serve up to 2 years in prison if they don't file their declaration or if they give false information, and $500,000 for not filing on time or ignoring requests for information. Unfortunately, our parliamentarians made changes that prevent the public from knowing when they've broken the law or when they're being investigated. We really need to change that. Visit jampja.org to find out more about the act and to track if your MP is obeying this law. If they're not, JAMP's MP Tracker will help you write, tweet, or call your MP. Ask them, you submit your declaration yet? The Integrity Commission clear you? Let's help the Parliament stay honest. A message from the Jamaica Accountability Meter Portal, funded by the European Union and the Inter-American Development Bank in partnership with the Private Sector Organization of Jamaica.
In Jamaica, there needs to be one law for all. Every member of this society, regardless of profession, finances, or the area you live in.
I have some bad news.
The company didn't get the contract?
The money they paid us for it has gotten out.
Are you serious?
I'm afraid so, and I understand that there are going to be corruption charges.
Minister, please come with us, sir.
Breaking news. A senior politician and senior civil servant have been charged for corruption.
Thank God not all of them stay, sir.
Build integrity. One law for all.
A message from NIA.
Are you an entrepreneur producing an excellent Jamaican product or service? Did you know you can earn hard currency and more significant returns by exporting? Contact the Ministry of Industry, Investment and Commerce to help propel your business along the export lane.
Everything you can produce, the Jamaicans overseas want it. We're not going to get rich by just bringing down the debt. We're going to get rich by exporting a lot more. So grow exports, create job opportunities, drive economic growth through exports to make Jamaica a richer and much more prosperous country.
Nah, click on your link for my liquor brother pre that slap bro, we no need that. And the next thing them type a song they are listening online, what kind of thing that some big man pose up on them profile and a put chat to a small child. Watch yourself on social media when you a post boxes, no do nothing too wild. What if your little brother said a post ya? What if your bro dead in a crime video ya? What if your little sister fi take a one pic and it a put up everywhere like it's a poster? Before me share the post the pic, I ask myself what if I nah comment, I nah go click B. Before me ask what if I nah comment, I nah go click B. Before me ask what if so before you share the post the link, just ask yourself what if yeah. When you're there online, make it a new day at the rhyme. Keep up with the time. Broadcasting Commission I remind you. We and the youths united against corruption, changing the world and the way we function. The youths united against corruption, changing the world and the way we function. You remember the youth, them are with future leaders, policy creators, decision makers. As if them are not just the cornerstone, but a crucial part to a better tomorrow. United against corruption, changing the world and the way we function. The youths united against corruption.
A message from the Integrity Commission.
Washing your hands properly can help keep you and others safe. Remember to wash often, especially before eating or touching your face.
We want a peace for Jamaica. We have to be our brother's keeper. Jamaica live good, I make we enjoy life. Want we feel safe at night. Jamaica live good. I better you and I. No say we future bright. Jamaica live good. Come together as one. I make the violence the world.
Remember that big project the government announced them was going to from when? You ever catch yourself and wonder what to it? Stop wonder like an outsider and start move like the country belong to you. You have a right to publicly owned information, and the Access to Information Act gives you that power. I know you have enough questions about how government are run or not run, so let me show you how it works. Say mosquito spraying going on in your community, your children asthmatic and you want to know what chemicals are in it. Or what about that Auditor General report on a public official getting twice his salary with no proper approval? Is your taxes and you want to know if they paid it back? First, do some basic searching to see what is already on government websites. If you don't see what you're looking for, make a formal ATI request by completing the application form on the ATI site or sending a letter or email. And remember, you don't have to say why you need it. It is your right to know. Make sure you send your request to the right agency, and once they confirm receipt, they get 30 calendar days to provide the information, a maximum of 60 if extra time is needed. Yes, I know you want access to everything, but sensitive documents are protected from the public for up to 20 years. For example, documents that would expose a citizen's personal privacy, or those dealing with cabinet discussions, the Governor General's office, or information on the investigative activities of the security forces. Any public officer who tries to destroy or hide any official document can be sanctioned. And if you're having difficulties, the ATI unit will help. So, what if the chemicals in the mosquito spray are toxic? What if the agency did not even try to get back the money they paid out? Call or email your MP. Share the concern, because as your elected representative, they can represent your questions to the government ministers in the House. Remember, it is the job of parliamentarians to monitor and hold the government to account on your behalf. Is not every country gives citizens this kind of power, you know? And at 20 years we have this law, and we barely use it. So access information and mind your business, Jamaica. Visit jampja.org today to see what information we access to make it easier for you to hold the government to account. Let's do our job to make Jamaica land we love, Jamaica land we own, and Jamaica land we run well. A message from the Jamaica Accountability Meter Portal, funded by the European Union in partnership with the Private Sector Organization of Jamaica.
Motorists, as Minister of Justice, I appeal to you. Obey the road code, pay your ticket on time, and only go to court if the ticket is being contested. Close to 80% of matters coming to the parish courts are for traffic breaches. Let's work together to make our roads safe and ease the burden on our courts.
Aspiring gunman, badman, young dance, liquor shotters, the 14, the 15, the 16-year-olds. You still have time to change your future and enjoy your life. No, not no gun for no guy. And no bother hang with no crowd that is always getting into trouble. Think about your family, your father, your mother, your granny. Some of you good and all have son or daughter. It's not worth it, my youth. Choose freedom.
Me, I go show them my way of justice.
I'm abused.
I need legal advice. I don't deserve this.
The truth of the matter is, justice there for all of we. The Ministry of Justice has trained more than 5,600 persons in restorative justice practices. More than 200,000 victims have been supported by the victim services. Legal aid has reached thousands island-wide. Make we talk it out, not fight it out. Call 888 Justice today.
Most major illnesses that affect Jamaicans are caused by unhealthy lifestyles. Over 50% of Jamaicans are overweight. 1 in 3 Jamaicans has high blood pressure. 1 in 8 Jamaicans has diabetes. 17% of Jamaicans have high cholesterol. A healthy lifestyle can reduce the risk of most of these diseases. Things like regular exercise and adequate rest can play an important role in maintaining good health. The other major consideration is eating healthy. The question is, how do you walk into a restaurant or fast food outlet and identify the healthier menu items? Better For You is an initiative to help Jamaicans to eat healthier. Restaurants and fast food outlets can voluntarily participate by identifying the items on their menu that meet the food-based dietary guidelines for Jamaica. These menu items would be easily identified with the Better For You logo, so customers can quickly identify healthier meal options by looking at the menu or menu board. Once they see the Better For You logo, they can confidently order that menu item, knowing that it's a healthier choice. Better For You will help Jamaicans to make better choices and prompt restaurants to add better options to their menu. Better For You is better for everyone. Good health begins with better choices.
Cook it up and make we steam it. Fresh so me need it, tilapia a real fish. Cook it up and make we roast it. Farm fresh so me need it, tilapia a real fish. Grow smart at the best part. Food for thought so me have to eat smart. Easy catch, fully net. A tilapia so you don't know what's next. Cook it up and make we fry it. Fresh so me need it, tilapia a real fish. Bring home the best in freshwater fish. High content of vitamin B3, protein and potassium. Tilapia, simple, healthy, delicious.
Speeding kills. Obey the speed limit. A message from the Road Safety Unit in the Ministry of Transport and Mining.
What is the role of a backbencher in government? I'm glad you asked. They're members of parliament who are not appointed to cabinet. So they sit in the back of the legislature and they apply pressure. They examine what government legislates, participate in parliament debates, raise issues and advocate and question chamber when things don't look straight. Backbenchers represent the constituents in parliament. Backbenchers oversee the interests of citizens, you and me. But how can they be agents of government accountability after them no hold no portfolio? And them and a minister? No. So then how can they facilitate government transparency? And the next thing, them and a front bencher. So how them affect me? You see, a lot of work is in committees. So these portfolio-free MPs with less dire responsibilities are more accessible to you and me. So they help with policy, but it helps if we engage them, you see. So they're not just in the back.
Okay, all right, good. Mr. Edwards, do us the privilege, please, and grace us with your presence.
Sure. Thank you, Chairman. Thank you. Thank you. Let us pray. We thank you, Lord, for this opportunity once again to meet about the business of the nation. And we just ask, Lord, that you guide us, guide our deliberations. May they be fruitful, careful, profitable, and ultimately beneficial for the people of our beloved country. Amen.
Thank you very much. Okay, so any apologies for absence? Anyone? Apologies for absence.
Yes, Chairman. I have Dr. Guy,
Right.
Miss Morrison, Terencia Morrison, and Miss Crystal Lee.
Okay. That's it.
Yes, Chairman.
Okay, thank you very much. All right, so my welcome and opening remarks are just that. Welcome to all. What we had agreed to, which I would like us to continue, is to go through the rest of the bill, read through till completion, unless we have any sticking points that we may want to review for the next time. And then we get back to the controversial or the items that we had some issues with, which I understand the team are mulling over, and we'll have some better particulars on. So I seek the approval of the team, as was said earlier, to follow that format. So we wouldn't revisit what we need to clear up until after we have gone through all that we can go through and agree on together. All right, so if that is agreed, then we could move to item 5, the reading and confirmation of the minutes, which you should have with you. That's the minutes of June 5th, 2025. And I am now on page 1.
Chair.
Yes.
To update my title to Chief Program Officer.
Okay, Madam Parliamentary Support, update the title of Ms. Kadian Birch to Chief Program Officer, please. Thank you.
Thank you, Chairman.
All right, so that's page 1, then page 2.
Chair?
Yes.
Just a matter of clarification on page 1, whether it should be described as a hybrid or a virtual meeting, because I think it was decided to have virtual. Thank you.
I think it's virtual, so yes, let's reclassify virtual. Okay, page 2. Pages 3.
Chair, on page 3, the first paragraph, it's made mention that Mr. Edwards indicated that subsequent to the preparation of this report, discussions took place among the legal department stakeholders. For clarity, if discussions took place among the Chief Parliamentary Council, the Legal Reform Department, and the Attorney General's Chambers and the Ministry of Health.
Okay, is that noted for a change?
Yes, Chairman, thank you.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Malcolm. All right, so we're on page.
And then, Chair, if I may, also in that first paragraph, consequentially, the reference to the legal department in the, I think it's the third sentence, should be corrected. Maybe we could say, however, those legal department stakeholders, we could use that term in the third sentence instead of just saying the legal department.
Okay. Is that accepted?
Noted, Chair.
Thank you. You had another one.
Yes,
Lydia?
in that same paragraph at the end of the paragraph, the word review should be removed.
Remove the word review. Noted, Ms. Malcolm.
And replace it
Chairman.
Okay.
Could you repeat, Ms. Birch?
And with removed.
Okay.
Okay, that's 3. If no other corrections on 3, page 4.
Sorry, Chair. And also on page 3, in relation to the paragraph referring to bullet point 6, there's a reference to draft 4. Should that be a reference to the previous draft of the report instead of just saying draft 4?
You're asking a question or are you stating?
Well, maybe I'm asking through you to the reporting staff, to the parliamentary officer, whether that reference to draft 4 should not be a reference to the previous version of the draft report or something like that.
Ms. Malcolm?
Chairman, I could change it to previous version of draft.
Report.
Will that be more clear?
Draft report.
Yes, that will be clearer. Thank you.
All right, so I'll have previous version of the draft report.
Okay. All right, if there are no other suggestions or changes, so we move then to page 4. Then page 5. Page 6. Seven. Page 8. Page 9. Page 10. Eleven. Well,
Chair, in relation to page 12, the paragraph dealing with clause 15, I believe that the committee had raised no objection to the deletion or the exclusion of the phrase or seller.
Yes.
Because I don't think the agreement is to have person or seller, because a seller is a person.
okay. Is that noted, Ms. Malcolm?
Yes, Chair. Thank you.
Okay. If nothing else on 12, here we go to 13.
Chair, in the second paragraph, beginning with the words the chairman commended, Solicitor General, the end of that paragraph refers to Ms. Birch saying that, responding that it was department of the ministry. I don't believe that Ms. Birch said that.
The clerk of parliament.
No.
Okay.
Say what you said.
It's the committee clerk of parliament, not the department, who is responsible for drafting the report.
So the committee clerk of parliament and remove department of the ministry.
Thank you, Chair.
Okay. No
And Chair, 2 paragraphs down the middle of that paragraph, where it says he referred to a decision of Mr. Justice Brian Sykes. I believe we could say he referred to a decision of the full court of the Supreme Court. So take out the reference to Justice Brian Sykes there, and then we could say in which Chief Justice Brian Sykes adopted the Oakes principles. That's more accurate.
Okay.
So it would read, yes.
I understand the full court, and then you reference Chief Justice.
Right.
Is that
Thank
noted, Ms. Malcolm?
Yes, Chairman. So we will have the full court first, and then we may make reference to just the justice.
To Chief Justice Brian Sykes.
Chief Justice. Yes.
Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Malcolm.
Okay. 14. $15. 16. 17. 18. 19 and a few lines on page 20. Okay, so can I ask for someone to move for confirmation and then of the minutes? Anyone?
So moved here.
Okay, moved by Senator Gale, seconded by
Seconded, Chair.
Senator Boulding. Okay, thank you very much. Are there any matters outside of what was mentioned, the corrections? Dr. Longmore, yes.
Yes. Thank you, Chair. I just wanted to have on record, as was recognized, I had to leave the meeting a bit early last week, or the last meeting, and having reviewed the minutes, I am recognizing a number of issues that I definitely would have contributed to at that point in time, had I been absolutely present. I make note of your opening remarks, and I will press along with that plan, but I have significant concerns with some of the deviations that seem to be now being considered from what was fulsomely discussed in many, many sittings previously. I would just like it on record to recognize that I will be contributing as best I can to that process of how we will review and settle some of these matters. Thank you, Chair.
Point noted. So make your notes and capture your thoughts and try not to leave the meeting early next time.
Yes, duly noted, Chair, duly noted.
All right, okay. So we appreciate that comment. So if there are no other matters arising, then can we then pick up from where we left off, if that's okay with all? I see no objection. You can take down your hand, Senator Longmore, so that I don't think it's another point, unless you have another point.
No, Chair, thank you.
Okay, great. All right, so if we're agreed, then I'm gonna ask, is it Mr. Edwards now who will lead off, or you, Kadian?
I can lead off.
Ms. Birch.
With
Birch,
Thank
okay.
you.
Sorry. Okay, Ms. Birch, you want to just remind us where you are, and then we take from there.
So we are at part 8, reports and information of the bill, starting at clause 25, information required. Your committee noted the concern of one entity that the disclosure requirement for product characteristics in subclause 1 was unnecessary and onerous. The entity questioned the usefulness of this provision and noted that it was requesting that a tobacco company share its trade secrets, which is a confidential matter. Your committee was advised that the provision was in keeping with Article 9 of the Framework Convention on Tobacco Control, which provides for the regulation of tobacco product content, and Article 10, which addresses the regulation of tobacco product disclosures. Your committee noted that the disclosure requirement is a part of the existing Public Health Tobacco Control Regulations 2013, and therefore do not recommend that any changes be made to give effect to the concern of the entity. Your committee recommends that in the annual reporting requirements, that any changes made from one reporting period to the next should be reported, such as adjustment to the design features of a particular brand of tobacco products. Part 11, miscellaneous and general provisions, clause 36. The transitional provisions,
Sorry about that. Right, okay, all right, sorry about that, go ahead.
Your committee noted the recommendation of one entity that the transitional period be increased to a minimum of 12 months. And so the committee will recall the meeting of May 21, where it was discussed in terms of increasing the period of the transitional to 12 months. In order to comply with the provisions outlined in the bill, your committee was advised that the proposed legislation will not come into force immediately upon its passage, and the transitional period will apply after the proposed act comes into force. Your committee recommends that no amendment is necessary for this clause. Proposed new clause 38. It was suggested that a new provision be included immediately after clause 37 that provides the minister with the power to issue tobacco control health guidance orders or directions as codes of conduct. We support this recommendation. So the committee will recall that in the provisions dealing with conflict of interest, there was a recommendation that the minister could issue code of conduct to guide public officials. And therefore this clause is proposed. And so the members of the committee recommended that the ministry adjust the language of clause 37A, making it clear that the instruments were guidance notes. The committee accepts the recommendation that the words after tobacco control could be deleted. The paragraph would therefore read such other matters related to tobacco control. The committee accepts the recommendation that subsection 2 be deleted as a requirement for the orders to be otherwise made available to the public would create a statutory burden and should be handled administratively. Your committee was advised that the intention of subsection 4 until any further provision is made under this section, the directions as specified in the 7th schedule shall have effect for the purposes of this section was to have a sample set of provisions for consideration of the houses to be included in the report. It is to be noted, Chair, in relation to the clause 38, that the directions mentioned in the 7th schedule have not been developed, and earlier on in the May 21st meeting, we had indicated that those are to be prescribed. So there will be no 7th schedule to the bill. And for the record, I will read the proposed new clause into the report. So the clause would read, Minister may issue tobacco control public health guidance. The minister, after consultation with the minister responsible for the public service and relevant stakeholders, may issue guidance orders for the guidance of public bodies or categories of public officials or public bodies in furtherance of the objects of this act, requiring the applicable public officials and public bodies to carry out their function in accordance with the provision of the orders or directions. And such orders or directions may address the conduct of interaction between public officials or public bodies and the tobacco industry, or such other matters related to tobacco control. Subsection 2, the provisions of this section shall not limit the operation of any other provisions of law or disciplinary rules not inconsistent therewith to which the public official would otherwise be subjected.
Okay, no objections? All right, go ahead.
Clause 38, minister may make regulations.
Chair, I'm sorry, before you move on, can I just ask, the guidance notes that we're contemplating here, I don't know if SG is on, if she could just opine, what's the force of guidance notes as opposed to regulations? And if these guidance notes are issued by the minister, What what's the obligation of the public official or the public body? Are they bound to these guidance notes? Is there some sanction if they don't follow the guidance? I'm trying to just understand. I can't recall seeing guidance notes in any of our acts before, but I'm not clear on the force of it.
So you're asking SG to comment on that?
I wonder if she could. I'm not sure if I see her online.
I thought I saw her earlier.
I'm trying to look down the list.
SG, she's on. SG, you want to come in here?
Thank you. Good morning, Chair, and to your members and colleagues. Guidance notes are sometimes issued by regulators. So, for instance, I think FSC has that power, and I think Bank of Jamaica as well. The law can determine what kind of how they can be enforced, whether at all. Sometimes I know you can have guidance notes, really just that, guidance. Same with codes of conduct, but a law can also allow for them to have some enforcement. So you can decide what you want in your law. I was just looking at this provision, but I think the ministry would have to speak to the intention of it.
Okay, thank you. Sir Edwards, our Cadian wants to come in here.
Thank you, Chair. The intention of the, and I thank SG Solicitor General for that explanation. The intention really is to fill out gaps in terms of procedure. So some of the questions that have been asked during the committee previous deliberations as to processes in relation to matters like interaction between officers and industry, reporting requirements, some of those matters could be more fulsomely outlined and detailed in guidance notes. And as SG has also said, it would be a matter of whether specific sanctions would be imposed or whether these would really be directive, just as circulars or orders to public officials as to how they should do their business. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Chair.
Go ahead.
Go ahead, Mr. Edwards. So in the discussions previously in the committee regarding the Clause 8, limited interactions with tobacco industry and avoidance of conflict of interest, it was suggested that guidance notes in terms of code of conduct could be developed to guide public officials, public bodies in terms of how they avoid conflict of interest and guide their interactions with the tobacco industry. In terms of sanctions, the committee has decided that in terms of the limited interactions and conflicts of interest, there would be no sanctions in the legislation, as the provisions that exist, such as under the staff orders, would guide conflicts of interest. And so with the guidance notes, they would also guide as some sort of code of conduct also, which would align with the staff orders and other policies governing public service that deals with conflicts of interest.
All right.
So a breach of the code of conduct could also.
I think Senator Golding.
Very clear, very clear. Thank you for the explanations to the team.
Thank you. Go ahead.
Okay. Clause 38, minister may make regulations. 38.1, the minister may make regulations generally for the better carrying out of the objects of the act, and in particular, but without prejudice to the generality of the foregoing, may make regulations for A, for prescribing anything required by this act to be prescribed, B, prescribing the imposition of fees, C, prescribing the maximum permissible levels of tar, nicotine, and such other contents and emissions of tobacco products or relevant products as the minister may specify. D, prescribing the testing standards to be used in regulating the components and test devices that are used with tobacco products and relevant products. E, prescribing the methods to be used in testing tobacco products, tobacco smoke, relevant products, and their emissions. F, prescribing the information which manufacturers of tobacco products and relevant products and sellers shall provide, including information on or relating to tobacco smoke, emissions from relevant products, sales, advertising, and promotional data, product composites, ingredients, hazardous properties, and brand elements. G, prohibiting anything required by this act to be prohibited. Subsection 2, regulations made under subsection 1 shall be subject to affirmative resolution.
Okay. I see no objections or any comments, so let's proceed. Thank you.
Clause 38, power of the minister to increase monetary penalty and amend schedules by order. Members of your committee are of the view that the minister should be empowered to amend the second schedule. The committee accepts the recommendation that the square brackets around the word schedules in subsection B be amended in subsection B should be deleted. That should be deleted. Schedules. The first schedule. Your committee supports the recommendation of one of the stakeholders that paragraph 1, subsection A, subsection 3 should specify the parts of the schedule that contain the set of warnings that is 3, 4, and 7. Part 2 of the first schedule detail requirements for health warnings in relation to B packages. The recommendation made in respect of clause 20 applies, and the committee may recall that the recommendation was for the 80% size for the health warnings on the packages. Second schedule, the list to be addressed again when the committee examines the scope of places where smoking is prohibited based on the comments of the Jamaica Psychiatric Association. So the second schedule includes as places where smoking or holding lit or electronic tobacco product or relevant product is prohibited. These are 1, health facilities, including pharmacies, sport, athletic, and recreational facilities for the use of the public, educational institutions, bus stops, areas designated for use by children.
Okay.
The fifth schedule, consequent to the amendment proposed in clause 9, for an administrative penalty to be applied instead of a criminal penalty for a person who contravenes the provisions of the clause. Your committee recommended that the reference to clause 9 in the fifth schedule be deleted. Also, consequent to the recommendation in clause 19, we recommend that the fifth schedule should outline a set of graduated penalties to address persons who allow or perpetuate the continuous, intentional, or negligent exposure of children to the sale of tobacco products or relevant products. In light of the discussions, Chair, regarding removing the penalty, so there will be no penalty in relation to clause 9 in the fifth schedule, and the committee has decided to remove those penalty provisions. And so for the record, the fifth schedule includes graduated penalties as recommended, which starts from a low of 500,000, 700,000 for a second offense, and a fine of 1,500,000 for subsequent offenses. And that is stipulated throughout in the fifth schedule.
I see SG has a hand up. SG, go ahead.
Thank you. I just wanted to clarify that the wording in the report will be adjusted. So because it's not going to be an administrative penalty that will be applied. So I know Ms. Birch has explained, but I just want it to be noted for the record that the language in the report will also be adjusted accordingly.
Yes.
And just for the record, to also just inform persons who may not be looking at the bill at the same time that you have graduated offenses, not just for individuals, but for bodies corporate. Thanks, Chair.
Okay.
In the sixth schedule, consequent to the recommendation in clause 15, subsection 4, that the fixed penalty regime be removed and the provision be made for graduated penalties for persons who contravene the provisions in relation to the protection of children, we recommend that the reference to clause 15 in the sixth schedule be deleted. There is a reference in the report to a new seventh schedule. As indicated earlier just now, Melissa, there will be no seventh schedule to the report, to the bill in terms of the code of conduct. Those will be prescribed at a later date. So this reference to a new seventh schedule is to be deleted from the report. Memorandum of objects and reasons. Your committee agrees that the last line of the first paragraph should be amended after the word marketing practices to read relating to advertisement and. 5, acknowledgement. Your committee wishes to express its gratitude to the entities and individuals who made oral and written contributions on the bill. Special thanks are also extended to the technical team from the Ministry of Health and Wellness, the Office of the Chief Parliamentary Counsel, the Attorney General's Chambers, and the Legal Reform Department. Your committee wishes to express thanks to the media, which ably reported on the proceedings of the meetings. Your committee also wishes to thank the clerk and the staff of the Houses of Parliament for their support and courtesies extended during the meetings. And there will be an appendix 1 with the amendments to the tobacco control bill recommended by the committee. Chair, the ministry has gone ahead and done that matrix of the amendments, which once we have settled the report, we will share with the committee clerk and for review of the committee. Appendix 2 has the attendance of the number of meetings of the committee. And then the final page would have the signatures of the committee members.
Okay, thank you very much, Ms. Birch. So, members, having gone through to the final page and section, what we now have to determine, so 11:13, whether we take on the areas that we segmented for a return discussion. Maybe you or Mr. Edwards can guide us on the 2 or 3 areas. And then we can take a decision if we want to allow, if everyone is prepared, for us to start and see where it takes us over the next maybe 45 minutes. Or we convene one final meeting to try and close to deal with these. It depends on whether persons are ready to deal with it. So, Gideon, you want to just guide us as to where you are, or Mr. Edwards, whoever, doesn't matter.
So There were two issues from the last meeting, the clause 10 and the fact that it had no enforcement provisions, and also clause 24 on the ban on tobacco advertising and sponsorship. On the ban on tobacco advertising sponsorship, the ministry is finalizing a further response to send to the Solicitor General to engage her on the matter.
So that would not be able to be completed today then?
No, so but we should be in a position for the next meeting.
Next meeting, meaning next week. We really need to complete this process.
In early July, based on the dates,
Early
the committee clerk
early
has
July,
given
I mean, that's like
2 weeks.
that's 2 weeks now. What about the other one? Same thing, the other point.
I will ask Mr. Edwards if he was able to complete his research to respond to the concern.
All right, before you come in, Mr. Edwards, I see Senator Gale with his hand up. Senator
Sir,
Gale.
I was just seeking clarity. I heard clause 8. Wasn't there clause 9 also that we had some concerns with? Or was that the one that Mr. Edwards was supposed to get back to us on?
9 and 10.
9 and 10.
9 and 10, okay. Right, thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Mr. Edwards, you want to comment on the other? You can take on your hand, Senator Gale. Yeah, okay. Mr. Edwards?
Yeah, thank you, Chair. I think I prefer, Chair, if we could deal with both matters after some discussion with the rest of the legal team, the legal stakeholders. I have the information. I have information to hand, so I could introduce a response to the issue, and if we could be allowed further opportunity at the next meeting. But I know the general concern was the usefulness of having provisions such as clauses 9 and 10 without specific sanctions in the very legislation that we are enacting. And the question was also raised as to whether, if we have such a provision that creates certain duties or certain obligations, whether they should not rather be in subsidiary as opposed to primary legislation. And well, during the course of the last sitting, I had squeezed at the very end a reference to one piece of legislation that provides for creating a framework of obligations, even though there are no specific sanctions. And this was specific sanctions for every provision that is made in that legislation. And that was the Disabilities Act in relation to obligations.
Yes. I know that you say delay and then start dealing with the matter, which is fine, because we have some time. I'm prepared to go up to midday. And if you can, then we could officially deal with that issue. But before you get in, before you continue, Senator Longmore, was there, are those two areas the areas you had concerns with? Because what I'm proposing, I see your hand, Senator Gale, is that if Mr. Edwards, we have already established that one section we will have to await a little more assessment and consultation. The other seems as if Mr. Edwards would be willing to advance the position and have a conversation. So if we can agree around that, then maybe that's what we should do, and then hold on the other until you get that information that Kadian was saying. Dr. Longmore, are those the two areas that you had comments on?
Yes, primarily those areas, and as Senator Gale had indicated, around clause 9. But I also raised my hand because I saw where in the last meeting, there probably was going to be a furnishing of information from the NCDA. I was wondering if we have an update on that regarding research or findings that would be supportive of some of the positions to be discussed.
That's what you're waiting on?
We got the data, and so we wanted to put
everything together.
Happy to opinions.
Right. So that's
Okay.
that's what Miss Birch was saying, that she wanted to just complete that file.
No, I just wanted to make sure it's information from the NCDA that we are also included in that composition.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you. Thank you.
So it seems to me that 10 we would have to hold a bit on. I'd recommend respectfully to the committee. So if and then we go with 9 for our conversation. Right?
9 and 10 are related.
Yeah, but what section would Mr. Edwards? Mr. Edwards, is it that you could address one area without the other, or relating to the other, or you would need both? You had started to comment. What I don't want is to start a conversation which leads us nowhere, because we are wasting the people's time.
I agree, Chair. I agree.
They are related.
Exactly.
And,
So
and since Mr. Edwards has advised that he's going to consult, I would want him to also consider in 10, because 10 speaks to the person not being engaging, but consider a situation where if the person is being separating from the authority in an involuntary manner, example, terminated for cause or by way of redundancy, that's involuntarily in nature. And a consideration needs to be on why hold this person, because they are not leaving voluntarily. The authority would have been separating with them. And so due consideration must be given whether or not you want to have this hold on them. So I would want in your consultation, determine how you can possibly treat with that. Because I think it would be unfair and unreasonable where they would be separating involuntarily for you to have this hold on them.
Okay, so that's a useful comment from Mr. Edwards and others to take on board as they prepare the response. So Mr. Edwards, I wouldn't want to advance an attempt without completing the file, so to speak. If there's anyone else who wants to comment, anybody else wants to comment to ensure that all matters are considered with that when that discussion takes place, can you do so now? I really am trying to see if the next meeting could be the last. And so to the extent that some dialogue needs to take place behind the scenes, if necessary, with SG and whomever else, I would really want to encourage that to happen, because I'm trying to beat the political cycle. How is that? Can I be clear? Can I be as blunt as that? I don't want Parliament to go off and then this thing is incomplete. I think we need to move it along, at least to get it on the floor of Parliament for debate, even if we don't complete the debate. So I really would want one meeting, at least, try to keep it at one meeting after this. And I would love, Kadian, if that meeting does not take too long. So you said sometime in July. That sounds.
Dates on the committee.
You have a date? What
yes,
date you have?
based on your itinerary, Mr.
I adjust my itinerary necessarily. I mean, the last 3 meetings we have had week back to back, right? So is it that you'll have the file ready for next week, or you need more time?
Well, the dates proposed were July 2nd and July 9th. So even if it's the
9th at all. Today is what? Today is the 20th. What's today's date?
19th.
What's today's
Chair,
date?
Chair, July 2nd is very difficult for me. It happens to be my birthday and I can't make any promises.
You carry a cake and your fun while you're at it. Okay, noted, Senator.
Thank you.
Chairman, is July 9 not the final day of the CARICOM heads of government?
Thanks for the reminder. I'm not even sure, but if it is, then I'm going to be, I'd likely be at that event. Is there any date in June? Today is the 19th. Can we do anything in June itself? Madam Parliamentary
Perhaps the 23rd, 23rd or 24th or no, 25th.
I Chair, you're very optimistic, eh?
Well, yeah. You understand my timelines, right?
I do.
Trying to get everybody to feel a sense of accomplishment
I
by
do.
at least tabling the report. Because we've worked long and hard over many, many years. No.
Certainly.
You can't come up with 2 hours. You think you'll have the file by then? When you complete? I can't. My schedule. All right, tell you what, let me try and see if I can work something out. They're saying that my schedule is packed. I'm prepared to make some sacrifices. I don't know who I'll have to disappoint. We're all busy, I know, but I'm trying hard to get this over and done with. So if there's no other comments for the team that will try to frame a response and dialogue leading up to the next meeting, then maybe what we should do is look at AOB on the agenda or any other matter. And then
with a packed schedule, remember you are the Minister of Health, you have to have work-life balance.
Thank you, sir. Can you represent me as my trade union?
As always.
Leader. Yeah, man, we try to do that. So what we'll do then is
Chairman?
Yes.
Just to say, as we consider the meetings to wrap the report, just a reminder that the process can move a lot faster if the proposed amendments are all ready for tabling alongside the report.
Yes, that's
and
the
if they are extensive, you may also want to consider probably replacing the bill.
Yes.
Just a thought.
That was discussed earlier. So I think
and the strategy around the tabling, the debate on the report and the debate on the bill in order for it to be passed in the House and go to the Senate.
Okay, useful suggestions, and I think we did agree that we would have pursued the new document as opposed to based on the amendments and so on. All right, thanks for that. All right, so what I'll do then is just ask the team here and the Parliament to try and map a date. I mean, I guess if we can't do it in June, we'll try to do it. You say June 9th, July 9th would be there's a date for that?
July 2nd and 9th.
2nd and 9th, but I hear Dr. Longmore, and because she has some concerns, I'd like her to be there so she can voice those concerns. So we may have to go to the 9th, or if there's any time before that.
What were those dates, Chairman?
2nd and the 9th, but Dr. Longmore's birthday may be a problem for the 2nd, and she has some concerns that
Chair, yes, I honestly cannot promise full focus on the 2nd.
Okay, you remember you have the drinks and so on the birthday. And
Is it the birth evening or the birth night,
It's a whole day thing.
oh, that's great. Celebrate life. All right, let's try and work it out now, and find an appropriate time. And what I would encourage, I think, Minister Malahou-Fort made some excellent suggestions. I know we're thinking of it. I think we should use the time and get those things in order. And secondly, consultations prior to the meeting, so we can come to some sort of agreement. To the extent that there is no agreement, meaning there are still differences of opinion, then we will have to come here and a decision will be made one way or the other. If nothing else, by a raised show of hands, sorry to sound schoolish, but to just get some decision, that we can't be at a deadlock indefinitely, obviously. And remember again, folks, the debate will continue in the lower house and in the upper house. So, this is just one area, not that we're gonna allow for any imperfections deliberately, but sometimes a wider audience with a varying perspective may be appropriate for consideration of any aspect that the smaller committee here may not see eye to eye totally. So I think that's a natural part of the process. So we'll come to a decision one way or the other, even if it's a majority position as opposed to a sort of absolute position. All right. So for a date to be announced for the next meeting, if there is no other business, I want to wish you a good afternoon and weekend. And can I ask someone to move for an adjournment, please?
So moved, Chair. So moved.
Seconded.
Thank you very much. Have a great day, and thanks again for your efforts and time. Good luck. Bye.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Bye.
Recording stopped.
We are justice.
I'm abused.
I need legal advice. I don't deserve this.
The truth of the matter is, justice there for all of it. The Ministry of Justice has trained more than 5,600 persons in restorative justice practices. More than 200,000 victims have been supported by the victim services. Legal aid has reached thousands island-wide. Make we talk it out, not fight it out. Call 888 Justice today.
Dengue is ordinarily a mild disease. Persons may get a fever, headache, joint and muscle pains. The illness is often resolved through rest and adequate hydration along with paracetamol to treat the accompanying fever. However, on occasions the illness can progress to severe dengue, which can result in organ failure, bleeding and severe fluid depletion that can lead to shock and even death. Therefore, it is important for persons who are experiencing fever, vomiting, severe abdominal pain, bleeding under the skin, feeling very weak, or getting confused to seek immediate attention. Let us work together to protect ourselves against dengue.
Our pensioners are our society's backbone, and we want to make sure they are cared for. That is why the annual pension exemption and age relief exemption has been increased to $250,000 each. You have worked hard for your country, and we want you to have a little more peace of mind in retirement. Your government is caring for you. The proceeding was brought to you by the Office of the Prime Minister.
Evolution is a race between predator and prey. And more often than not, speed means survival.
Being fast is the name of the game. Prey becomes faster, predator becomes faster.
How could fish fly through the water at nearly 70 miles an hour? How could T-Rex evolve to outpace the fastest human? And what happens when we push nature beyond the natural limits? Buckle up. Speed kills. Right now on Evolve. In the blinding heat of the Savannah sun, the predator spots its prey. Within 3 seconds, it's reached 60 miles an hour. As it closes in, it hits maximum speed, 70 miles an hour. The cheetah is the fastest animal on Earth, and its speed has just one purpose: to kill.
Speed is sometimes the difference between life and death. Speed is what allows prey to escape their predators, or it allows predators to catch their prey, and can mean the difference between survival and extinction.
Today, speed gives the cheetah the highest predatory success rate on the Savannah. A lone lion catches its prey in 1 of 6 hunts. A full 50% of the time a cheetah hunts, it kills.
Cheetahs are the perfectly adapted animal for running.
Their bodies have evolved literally from the tip of their nose down to their tail to help them run faster.
A wide range of factors affect an animal's speed, environment, body type, predation, and more. And every one of those factors has come together in the evolution of the cheetah to create the ultimate sprinting machine. The head, smallest relative size of any